Spoilerin time, my friends. This show is a companion to Cordkillers. On Cordkillers, we talk about how to watch. What are the services? What do they got coming out? What are we going to do about it? Here, we talk about the things we've watched. And this week, we are going to spoil Picard, Season 3, Episode 3, The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 1, and The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 8. I'm Tom Merritt. That man right there is Brian Brushwood.
You know what they say, Tom? 1 out of 3, not bad.
But which one? Let's start with The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 8. Is this the one, Brian?
It is, Tom.
Oh, no. This was a good episode. I really enjoyed this. This was I didn't mind the flashback so much last week, but this felt like, oh, okay, we're back to how I felt in the first couple episodes, at least for me.
Well, and what a luxury gripe that I have, where it's like, yeah, but if you played the game, you would have a different experience. It's like, yes, those are luxury complaints to have. I can point out to you how much better the book Jurassic Park is than the movie Jurassic Park for various clever reasons. The mere fact that this is good and that it captures much, not all, but much of what made the video game great is a luxury. And my only, air quotes, complaint here is that when you play the game, now that you've seen it, you get to have the experience of truly believing Joel died. Just suddenly you're playing as Ellie, which is established because you started off the game playing as Joel's daughter, and then you become Joel, and then Joel appears to die, and now you're playing as Ellie for a very long time. And in the video game, you get the moment of, at this terrible moment for Ellie, suddenly you're Joel, and you get the knowledge that Joel's not dead, and there you are to save the day. And you feel that moment that I think was fairly well established or fairly well created in this, where it's like when he hugs her and says, "It's okay, baby." I'm going to get all dad mode. It doesn't matter. It does such a good job of capturing the video game that I went back and I just looked up cinematic The Last of Us. There's like a 4-hour version of it, and it is exact. You know, the fire building up in the background, the horrific number of chops that are happening at the end. This show's good, Tom. It's good, and the game is good. And if you like the show, everybody should play the game.
Sure. Yeah. I thought the perspective shift, which I know is also, as you just mentioned, part of the game, the perspective shift was brilliant because you don't think Joel is dead, but I think that's better. I don't think I would have bought that he was dead, knowing that Pedro Pascal was casted his way, if nothing else. But having him immobilized worked very well for me. Like, he's badly off. And yeah, she got some antibiotics and kind of like injected him right in the spot, but is that even going to work? So that left enough doubt that I didn't know whether he was going to come for her or not.
Especially because they had already established in the show logic that she tried to rub the magic blood on the right spot and it didn't work. So there was a bit of a question whether or not, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Do antibiotics just go in the spot where the bad thing is?
No, okay, yeah, that for sure. You're like, yeah, Ellie isn't trained in this stuff. When we see him come back around, and he, she leaves the knife and says, if they come, kill him, and he kind of revives. I wasn't shocked that he jumped up and killed the first guy. I was shocked that he flat out murdered 2 people after they told him where to go to find Ellie. And the voice ringing in my ear, Brian, was yours, of like, Joel's not supposed to be this good. I'm like, here we, the TV viewers, are getting that message loud and clear. He didn't have to kill those people. And we're seeing the bad dude who runs the town being merciful to Ellie and saying, hey, we don't have to kill everyone. We don't even have to kill Joel. And Joel's like, yeah, I do. I'm going to kill these people. And I thought that was significant, especially because then Ellie has a vengeful murder and now she has to deal with that. And suddenly you're left at the end happy that Joel showed up. I think both Eileen and I were like, well, so Joel's going to come in, he's going to make it, right? And then he didn't need to. She handled it herself, but at what cost is what we're about to find out next.
Were you aware that the special guest in this episode was Joel?
Not until I watched the post show thing. No, I didn't know enough about him that was the case.
The guy who gets cleavered in the neck from
from Ellie
Ellie.
kills the game Joel. TV Ellie kills the video game Joel.
Do we say the real Joel or the original Joel?
The voice actor.
No, you say the TV Ellie killed the video game Joel, and then you avoid having to decide who's real and who's not.
Yeah,
Leaving
but
it up to the viewer.
now they're going to remaster the video game and make everybody look more like the TV version.
Are they?
No, they already remastered the game, so they kind of you're kind of lucky that they don't get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Bryce, how did this land with you?
This was a really great episode, really dramatic. I really liked watching this because I didn't like playing this part of the game.
Yeah, right.
It was, we're getting to the end of the game here, and you're along the way you're doing these big firefights and dealing with all this stealth missions that they've put in the game. I thought it was great. It's a fantastic. It actually felt, I will say, even though we hew pretty closely to the story of the video game, by only really making it a fight, a very one-on-one conflict fight, despite the fact that there are groups of people all around who want to kill both of Ellie and Joel. We really just focus on Ellie killing the leader of this group, and then everyone else is just gone, which is kind of nice.
By the way, the leader was the exact right amount of creepy, where it's like it became apparent what it meant to join him. And I'm like, oh my God, what?
And a really nice guy, right? Like not creepy in the like you're immediately put off the minute you meet him and he has to win you over, but like, no, this guy seems great.
Yeah,
charismatic and friendly, and
I thought it was a great.
That was more Insidious to me.
I thought it was a great little slice of personality at the end of kind of his arc to kind of play the tack of like, okay, Ellie, like it's us now. We're real.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're so much smarter than all these friggin' sheep. Like
I thought it was
manipulative,
so right?
Yeah. And then it keeps going. Oh my God. I'm glad she, you know what? I'm glad he died. I'm glad she stabbed him to death.
I literally shuddered the moment. Like think how hard it is to tell the type of story where two fingers could touch and you could feel utter revulsion. More revulsion than, when everybody was eating human flesh.
Yes.
Like, that's amazing.
You're like, well, they're just doing what they have to do to survive. Those people were dying anyway.
But then those fingertips touched, and I swear.
No. Yeah.
And I loved, she breaks the finger, and then she calls out, hey, let him know a little girl broke your finger. Get his ass.
Yeah.
So good.
Also, a nice touch that we see the deer. We know they have the deer. The guy brings in the tub of meat and says, it's venison. You're like, oh, yeah. So they must have brought the deer. And then the next shot is them bringing the deer in. You're like,
yes.
Well, then what's that?
So good.
My daughter was like, is venison a guy? Is that his name? She was not fooled.
Or maybe he didn't say venison. Maybe he said Dennison.
Right.
This is Venny, my son.
I will say this caused me to go back and just watch a cinematic playthrough of the game, and I'll be danged if you want to be ahead of the game, just watch that 4.5 hour cinematic thing. It's great because it's very, very clear. Just go to YouTube, type in The Last of Us cinematic playthrough, and it's. You will get to see what the next episode almost certainly is going to be beat for beat.
Well, yeah, it'll be the end of the season.
Yes.
I recommend if you don't watch the featurettes about the episode to go watch the featurette for this one, because you get to see Bella Ramsey get thrown off of this goofy looking horse thing for the stunt of her falling off the horse.
Oh no, I did. Yeah.
It's great.
I
Check it
will
out.
go
Yeah,
watch
they,
that.
they show the stalking horse they use in place of the real horse.
Shunk!
Yeah.
It's so good. It was very cool that she did that stunt. Stunts are difficult, and she's small.
That is the last on The Last of Us, right? Anything else?
The latest of The Last of Us.
More next week. That's The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 8. Let's talk about The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 1, the return of Din Djarin and Grogu as they race about the universe, trying to wash Din Djarin's face.
Yeah.
What? Wait, no, that doesn't sound like the plot of a good episode, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Din Djarin and Grogu land on Tatooine again.
But now, Tom, that's well trod territory for the Star Wars.
Okay, let me try it again.
Please.
Din Djarin and Grogu show up at Bo-Katan's palace and wonder, does she just sit in that chair all day, or does she ever go
wait,
anywhere?
is this freaking Skyrim? Is she a Jarl? Is that what she does? Is just like a non-player character sits there all
Did
day
you notice
long
there was a blanket next to her?
and just grouse about the Darksaber?
I feel like there's a Netflix TV. There's a TV playing Netflix that we can't see off screen. And this is just, she chills here and watches some Netflix.
My favorite headlines about this have been people complaining that Andor broke Star Wars by being so good, which I totally love and I totally agree with. Although I will give shouts out to the moment that Din Djarin throws the Baby Yoda puppet to Apollo Creed. That was great.
Yeah. There's some really cute Grogu moments, some really fun interactions between Din Djarin and Grogu. I liked that we saw some space whales as they were flying in warp, which is a reference to some Star Wars Rebels stuff. If you know, you know, and if you don't, I don't think it hurts anything. But overall, I was I don't know, I was a little bored by this episode.
Yeah. I mean, I think we just got a taste of something. I say this with all love and affection to The Mandalorian. I think that The Mandalorian, I remember how excited I was in that first season to finally get new, fresh Star Wars stories. But I feel like that was when we snorted heroin, and now we're mainlining with Andor. And I understand people who are like, I'm not getting the high that I used to get out of my Star Wars content.
I disagree with you that Andor is that much better than the first season of Mandalorian. You can't spell Mandalorian without Andor, though, so you can't really separate the two.
Oh, that's interesting. So maybe it's a case that so you think the Mandalorian is demonstrably getting less good over time.
That might be putting it too boldly for me, but yes. There was a point in the latter half when they're in the mines with Bo-Katan where it started to feel like, oh yeah, this is what I like about the Mandalorian. We're a creepy adventure in outer space, and you don't know what's going to happen next. And like why he's going there didn't matter. That could be a MacGuffin. I don't care about that so much. But we were getting some good adventure. But a lot of this was just very, very on rail set pieces for me, that felt not like fan service so much as like, oh, you've done this joke before. Like it's not as funny the second time around.
I will admit that I got faked out in that one of the opening scenes where giant crocodile comes out and tries to eat a kid who's putting on a helmet forever. The kid gets, knocked aside before he actually says, I will never take off my helmet. And there was a brief moment that I thought, oh my God, is this a flashback sequence? Are we seeing when Din Djarin, like he never actually said it.
Said
and
the
so
words.
that, right, exactly. And then it's like, nope, hi, it's me, Din Djarin. It's definitely current day. And that has nothing to do with me. What's up? And I was like,
I saved you from the crocodile though. So you have to answer me these questions 30.
Look, man, I I I I like Andor a lot. I
Hey, it's
like
got Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers is very obsessed with being called a high chancellor or whatever.
That I think that was really the only scene. There were some scenes I'm like, well, this isn't as good as I would like. There were some scenes in there I'm like, okay, this is feeling good. I really like this. That scene where the pirates wanted to go into the school for a drink just didn't make sense to me. I'm
Agreed.
like,
However,
I get, yes, the pirates would show up and challenge his authority. The pirates would pick a fight. The pirates would not pick a fight by saying, "Nope, you have to let us drink a beer in that school." Like that, they'd pick a better fight. I'm pretty
the,
sure.
there also, I think it was a pretty good fake out where they had us getting a IG-11 set up, and it was like, oh my gosh, Taika Waititi is going to be back or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think they undersold it, and
Was
I
it a
don't know.
good fake out though? Because he was very clear, like, no other droid will do until suddenly, oh, unless it's a reference to Star Wars: A New Hope, then that droid will do.
Oh, you're talking about the other C3
R5D4, yeah.
or
Like he was so because Carl Weathers was saying like, "Hey, we can get you another droid." He's like, "Nope, I insist. It can only be IG. That's the only one that will work until later when suddenly it was fine."
it was the C3 unit that knocked over that murdered that or that other droid, right? By knocking over the bust? No?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may be, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just I can't remember.
Put a pin in it. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Mandalorian. I paid half attention. I will fully cop to it. I will fully cop to it. I was definitely doing other work while this was on. So
Scooper Nova Girl and TF-87 both confirming you are correct. So
okay.
there,
Okay.
we'll go with that. Okay.
What I read from that moment is that maybe a slightly murderous C-3PO might be in the future here. That's what I read from that. But I'm also going to fully admit, paid half attention on this one. And it's not my fault. It's Disney's fault. Sorry, Disney.
Bryce?
Oh, I didn't watch this one.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Sorry,
That is The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 1. Let's talk about Picard, Season 3, Episode 3, where Riker becomes captain.
Oh my God. Not just becomes a captain, but becomes like full Riker. This may be the first time we've ever seen Riker not as a token of a captain, but being captain, so much so that he says, Picard, get off my bridge.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I feel like that happened before in TNG, but in like you're imagining it world, not reality. Whereas this was like, no, this isn't anybody's like fake out dream caused by an alien virus.
No,
this is real.
Riker is fully present, fully in the moment, fully there, fully invested, and just Picard can't compete with Riker at this moment.
And that's still frustrating me because I don't find that to be believable that Picard would doubt himself as much. On the other hand, I do think that it's plausible that Picard would say, "You got to turn and fight. You just got to turn and fight," and keep giving that advice until the point where it no longer worked. I find that plausible. I don't know. There were good and bad things about this entire episode. It was a little long for as much as accomplished, but overall, I had a good time.
Yeah, there's I am somebody who loves remix culture, and so I deeply appreciate, as somebody who has seen Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan coming up on 100 times, the idea of going to the clouds, shake them off or whatever. And like I noticed those silly little things like the wah, which is the exact music hit from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, when they do that. But where are we at with the whole Rafi side of things? Like, do we like hippie Worf?
I really like Hippie Worf. This is Worf at his best, taking himself too seriously and being a little silly despite that, but also extremely competent. I like that an older Worf has grown and is dealing with his anger issues. I find that entirely charming. Uh, what he and Rafi are up to now, I'm still not sure. Like, I'm not
Yes.
sure why I'm seeing Worf at this point, even though I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh God, Tom, I don't want to say this out loud.
Mm.
Patrick Stewart is very old.
Okay, yeah, you generally have a harder time with older actors than I do.
Well, it's just because I hate old people.
Yeah, no, I know.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's
You're
not.
like
It's
like
just
Logan's Run should be the law. I get it, man. Yeah.
Logan's Run should be the law.
He's the Palm Jewel Party. 3 jewels in
No,
every
no,
palm.
25 and
feel
out.
like
That's my
we've
my
had
rule.
this conversation a couple of times with
Yeah.
an older actor where you're like, I can tell they're not all 100% what they used to be, if that's a good way to put
And
it.
it breaks my heart because
Man.
it's like I mean I'm enjoying most of it. It's like, to be honest, I think 10 years from now they'll be able to gussy everything up with a little bit of AI magic, And
Oh, you just don't like the way he looks?
oh no. I don't like the pacing with which he speaks. I don't like the croaky voice. I don't like the fact that he looks
I'll be
old.
honest. I feel like the reason they're making Picard do things that Picard would have never done is because they're trying to write to Patrick Stewart's age, and instead they should just write to Jean-Luc Picard's age. They're not treating Jean-Luc Picard like he's as old as Patrick Stewart is, and I don't know why they shouldn't. Just have people talking about how old Picard is, and like, look, he's slow, and then suddenly everything Patrick Stewart is doing is in character and
You
perfect.
you're 100% correct. Like just a couple of significant glances between people who care about him that like just a little sideways, like, yeah, no, I know. Okay, all right. Let's go, Grandpa. Let's
The whole plot of the final episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation was
Yeah.
them like, he's so old. I don't know. Should we trust him, or is he just imagining it? Maybe he's senile. They could be like repeating that in quote unquote real life, instead of the Q instigated flash forwards that they did in the series. But
What
instead they just kind of leave me hanging, like, I guess I'm just supposed to believe he isn't thinking the same way these days.
was it this episode that somebody like rolled their eyes and called him a synth, and then somebody corrected saying he's the same person, like as though like they're speaking to the fans?
Yes. They acknowledged that yes, he's a robot, but an old robot with age problems.
That's not canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, there were brief moments that I lost. Oh, I did like things I never expected to see in the Star Trek universe. A portal bit, a whole bit around portals.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good weapon, a good, unique, and new weapon. I thought that was fantastic.
And by good,
forcing them to shoot
unique,
it themselves.
And new, what you meant to say was a 30-year-old idea that finally showed up in Star Trek.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, yes, there are no new ideas. They borrowed it from Portal, but this is within the Star Trek world. We haven't seen this before, have we?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I when I say new and unique, I mean, sure.
New to
nothing
Star
is new
Trek.
and
Yeah.
unique. Yeah. New within the Star Trek.
I don't know. I feel like I'm making apologies, Tom, and I don't want to do that for this.
Yeah. Picard wouldn't want it that way, or would he? I don't know. Maybe he would now, the way they're going. I really thought after watching Picard last week that when we get to a point where we might have to decide between the Mandalorian and Picard, that the Mandalorian would win.
Oh no.
Now I don't
Oh no.
know.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Tom, I'm feeling it. My heart has spoken, and I would rather stay on Picard over Mandalorian.
We still got a few weeks. We still got a couple weeks to make that
Oh
decision.
my
We
God.
can watch all 4. But
Star
yeah.
Trek won last time, to our amazement, right? Because it was Star Wars, the behind the scenes thing versus Lower Decks.
Yeah. Right.
I think Star
Lower
Star Trek might be about to win again.
We will find out. That is Picard season 3, episode 3. Next week, we are watching these all again. The Last of Us, The Mandalorian, and Picard. So the next episodes in all 3, although it will be the last episode of The Last of Us. To give you a little peek into the future, Ted Lasso is coming back the week after The Last of Us. So it'll be Picard, The Mandalorian, and Ted Lasso. Then Succession comes back the week after that. So the week of March 26th, we will have to make some decisions. That's it for Spoilerin Time. Thanks everybody who's for supporting us. You get a lot more conversations about how we make those decisions on Spoilerin Time in After Talk. A lot of times we'll talk about extra things that we've watched to get a little spoilery about them. So become a patron. Get that cool extra stuff. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. We will spoil you again next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.